and welcome to Long Weekend Adventures. She's Lisa, I'm Don, and today we're going to talk about Mesa Verde, the big bucket list item of our Durango trip. I don't know where to begin. It was amazing.
It was amazing. Yeah, it was great. Kind of along with the whole theme of the trip, again, we kind of went at the wrong season. A lot of the guided tours were closed, so we actually just ended up self-touring. We got a map from the park rangers, and she kind of circled some highlights for us and what we needed to see. And I don't know, I really think we need to go back because we didn't accomplish really what we wanted to, and we were there for 6 hours. So
yeah, you have to go back, and we didn't get there too late. We got there like 10 o'clock in the morning, and all the tours were sold out except the 3 o'clock tour. And then we weren't really sure, was that going to work? And in hindsight, yeah, we probably could have made the 3 o'clock tour, and that was the only way you could actually get down. And they were only touring Cliff Palace, which is like the main. If you ever see a photo of Mesa Verde, it's usually of Cliff Palace, but Mesa Verde is huge and expansive, and there's so much stuff there. I didn't realize how actually large it was. It's pretty amazing how large it is. So we were stuck on the cliffs because you couldn't go down unless you paid for the tour. And we got some dogs barking. That's great. And they're probably going to do it again. So yeah, we did the tour by the vehicle or self-guided tour.
Yep.
And it's huge. I think I lost track of the mileage of what we drove.
I don't even know how many stops we did. It seemed, about every 200-300 feet we were making a stop to some other cliff dwelling.
And sometimes you had like a little 5-mile drive. We probably did like a 40-mile loop. Probably about there. I mean, don't quote me on that, but it's pretty close to that.
It's pretty expansive.
And the fires that have been through there throughout the years caused a lot of damage. And it's, some of the fires are from the early 2000s, and here it is 2018, and you would think you'd start to see, it be gone or not really be able to tell, but the trees, you have a bunch of burnt tree carcasses that are still there that were actually pretty beautiful. It's kind of crazy. What was your line with destruction? Do you remember?
No.
There's beauty in destruction or something like that. You said something philosophical.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. I must have been on my game that day.
I didn't want to steal it. But the fires, you would think, you had some of the fires, and they had little plaques, so you kind of knew what year and what fire it was. And you'd think after 18 years, you'd see like new tree growth or something like that. And the only thing that was different was, all your prairie grasses, that vegetation had come back. But you still have all these trees there. And it's kind of like a dead forest. It's very, very unfortunate. And then we read somewhere that it takes 100 to 150 years
for the trees to repopulate.
And regrow that area to where you can't tell.
Yeah. Lots of wildfires. I think there was 4 markers throughout the park that they had marked that were major ones that had done a lot of destruction. I didn't realize that there was that much wildfire damage, but like Donnie said, it was really kind of pretty. The trees that were burnt kind of put off this silvery, ashy looking color to them, and if the light hits them just right, in my instance, it's kind of an eye catcher for a photographer. So I was able to get a few good shots out of some of the trees, and you just kind of have to take it for what it is. So I think that was one part of Mesa Verde that we weren't expecting to see. I think we really just kind of assumed that it was going to be all about the cliff dwellings and things like that. But we learned a lot. When you first get up, up to the top of the park, they have kind of a museum type area, a lot of artifacts and things like that. And they had like a 20-minute video
about that
at the beginning, that you could watch that talked about the Pueblos people and how they kind of started out in that area. and how they grew and the different versions of them. From the basket people to the advanced basket people, and it was really kind of interesting. So again, we learned a lot of things that we didn't know. I definitely want to go back. I feel like we kind of rushed through it because we wanted to make sure that we got to see everything before the park closed, and we made it right through the gates, kind of right in the nick of time when they were closing. So, when we go back, we'll definitely plan it better, and hopefully we're in season to where maybe we can do a guided tour or something like that. Because with the guided tour, they'll actually take you down into the cliff dwellings, and you can get a little bit closer. So. Definitely something to keep in mind if you're going to Mesa Verde or plan to. Their kickoff season doesn't really happen until about the beginning to middle of May when they start opening their tours. So just something to consider.
And you got to check it out. And I think Durango might actually, because it seems like when we did the railroad, certain things are open certain times of the year, and Mesa Verde also has certain things open certain times of the year.
Sure.
So I don't think you can do like the entirety of Mesa Verde. Like if you were going to take like 3 days, and I really think it'd take 3 days to actually do everything.
To do it properly, yeah.
But I don't think if you picked 3 days like in the middle of the summer, they still have other parts of the park closed down. So you have to go multiple times in the year if you want to actually see.
Well, and
everything.
I think parts of the park are closed indefinitely. Places that they used to do guided tours on and things like that, because the dwellings have just broken down so much. So there may be parts that you just can't even get into. But I think we thought there was going to be a little bit more hiking to it, and there really wasn't. It was a lot of car time. But I think if we go back and we plan it properly, then we'll have more time to walk around and get a little deeper into what we missed.
Yeah, and there was a 2-mile hike that we did miss because we arrived late in the day and we knew there would be no way we could do that.
And everything else.
And then we had like 3 more stops to hit.
Yeah.
Because the ranger marked everything that she thought we should see.
Yeah. And you do want to do all the stops. And some of the stops you're going to have to walk a quarter of a mile. Some of them we had. So, there was a little hiking to it, but, not as much as we thought. But regardless, it was beautiful. The day that we chose was beautiful. The sun was out and it was warm. Definitely recommend sunscreen. I think you got a little bit burnt even with sunscreen on, and
I didn't reapply. That was the problem.
You didn't reapply, so
gotta reapply.
Yeah, that's the secret. But the sun, when it's up there, and it gets pretty warm. That sun's up high, so. But regardless, we loved it. We'll definitely go back. I think Mesa Verde is something that you could explore over and over again, and learn something new every time you go back. And we just thoroughly enjoyed it.
For sure. And I still got 5 miles out of it with my step thing I walked.
Oh, is that what we ended up getting? So, pretty good walk, even though we were in the car.
You're in the car the whole day. It seems like, yeah.
Yeah.
But you still, there's still a lot of walking that
sure.
you do.
And then if you can do the 2-mile hike and you can get in the guided hike or something like that. I think the guided hike was 4 or 5 miles? It was something like that. It was pretty extensive. So, of course, along with everything else on the Durango trip, we highly recommend Mesa Verde. It was great. We'll definitely go back.
For sure. And it's $16 to enter per vehicle. And we ended up doing the National Parks Pass, which was $80 for the year.
Yep.
And we figure we'll use it with Rocky Mountain National, which we're not too far from. And if we don't, then at least you donate some money towards the park.
We've got some other trips coming up, I think, towards the end of this year that are at least in the plan for right now. We kind of need to finalize it, to where we're going to be visiting some other state parks and some other things that we'll be able to bring to you guys. So it just, made sense to, to go ahead and get the park pass. And, the ultimate thing is that it supports the parks, and that's the big deal. So, I think that kind of sums it up for Mesa Verde.
For sure.
And we don't have any major trips coming up anytime soon, but in June, 2 weekends back to back, we've got a couple of camping trips. So we'll be recording that and getting some hikes in and getting some on-site footage. Now that we kind of seem to know what we may be doing
What
here.
we're doing, we're figuring it out.
We're learning as we go.
We bought some gear that helps facilitate recording on site better and stuff like that. So, we're trying to strive to improve in our quality and our content as we move forward and we learn what we're doing.
Yep. And if you guys have any tips or comments, please comment below and let us know what we can do to improve. We're new at this and we're kind of learning as we do this thing video by video.
For
So
sure. And any suggestions on where we should go in the future, we're always open to that too.
absolutely.
So if this is your first time, please like, comment, and subscribe. And we'll see you next Sunday, right?
Yeah,
Sunday.
we're going to talk about our hike at Devil's Backbone.
Devil's Backbone.
Yep. All right. Well, thanks, guys.
Thanks. See you next week.
See ya.